Hi guys, Rod just checking in as we anticipate our last class together, working through Collins' book, Good to Great. Uh, Particular things to study and look at in that work. And again, this is taken from the business field, business world, but the principles are so applicable to the church that the president of our Lifeway Ministries, Tom Rayner, wrote an entire book based upon this book, Good to Great, that he entitled Breakout Churches, applying all the things that Collins brings out in developing these 6 principles that he addresses in this book. I want to encourage you, please, especially to look at the 9 things that he talks about on pages 10 and 11. Those are some tremendous insights they glean from their researching all these great companies and the comparison companies. There was finally 11 companies that they worked out as being those ones they wanted to really hone in on, that were able to turn around a declining or plateaued situation into a growth and a sustained growth over a 15-year period in those respective 11 companies, excuse me. So those 9 insights on pages 9 and 10 are very helpful in giving you a good taste on where this book is going and the things that it's going to bring more clearly through the chapters. Well, he starts off with level 5 leadership, and let me just pause again to say if there's a concern about our reading a book that's authored by a non-Christian, a couple of things quickly. Over 10 years ago, Jim Collins committed himself to reading through the entire scriptures from Genesis to Revelation to discover what is genuine faith and what is real faith. So the guy is not foreign to Scripture, nor the values of Scripture or Christianity. Secondly, these level 5 leaders of these 11 companies, several of them were Christians. He talks about Mockler at Gillette converting to Christianity while he was doing his MBA at Harvard, and others that you are seeing in these studies are going to be testifying to Christian core values and convictions and commitments in their lives. Also the fact again that Jesus said to us, the children of darkness are wiser than the children of light. There's a lot of things we can learn from great coaches in the sports world, athletes, business leaders, political leaders that have godly values that are convictions that they follow, even if they're not aware of those in their lives being biblical principles, God-authored values. So those things, keep that in mind as you read through this. I appreciate so much what he says in his foreword about, as a husband, what real success is, and that's growing in the estimate of your wife, that she appreciates and values you as a man more and more as you go on through life together. So I think you're going to find this book again very profitable. But level 5 leadership, there are so many helpful illustrations and insights that you're going to take away and be able to use for the rest of your life through what he is presenting in that chapter alone. And then he goes into confronting brutal facts. First who, then what. Getting the right people on the bus. The thesis of this largely is, in a church or in a company, you get the right people in leadership, they'll take that business, that church, to where it needs to go. This is what John Maxwell popularized as the 80-20 or Pareto principle. So the fact, again, largely what's being argued here is people of character. We've talked about character, competence, and chemistry, and the most important of those is character. It always trumps the other two. So what he's underscoring here in this chapter is that if you get people of character, you don't have to motivate them. You don't have to constantly keep watch over them, supervise them. They're self-motivated. They're disciplined people, as he talks about in a later chapter with that discussion. So this is a great read too. First who, then what, as to all the insights you'll be reading and studying in that chapter. Then confront the brutal facts. Honesty is so regarded in Scripture. I think there's 4 H's that are always consistent in Scripture: holiness, honesty, humility, and humor. Those are the things that are like God and what He wants to grow in our lives more and more. And this chapter is getting after that honesty value and creating that climate and culture in your church, in your business, and what you do with those that you work with, that they can speak honestly to you about your behavior as a leader, your practices, and even then also the business's performance and what's going on, and allowing for there to be genuine assessment and evaluation in light of why we're here. We as a church body, we want to have that kind of honesty about, are we really trusting and obeying what Christ put us here for to do, and following Him and carrying out His mission. So there's some great insights in that chapter. The hedgehog concept is one of the hardest ones for me personally to grasp, but largely what it is it's about values and passions and understanding what am I the best at, not what I can be the best at, but what am I good at. And that's a lot about spiritual gifts, and so I'm looking forward to you reporting back on the spiritual gifts assessment I sent out from Elmer Town's website. And that's what this chapter is bringing up. What are you good at? A lot that is always going to be fitted to our spiritual gifts. What God gave us spiritual gifts is what we find ourselves being naturally passionate over, and we find ourselves readily effective at. And then the culture of discipline. He's going to discuss and embellish the understanding of disciplined thinking, disciplined practices, first disciplined people, and this will be great. I'm not sure if it's there. I guess brutal honesty is where he brings up the Stockdale paradox or principle, and that's a great read in and of itself there too. I haven't ordered the book on Stockdale yet, but I'm going to do that because I want to find out more about this man's experience and him and his wife writing about his imprisonment in Hanoi in North Vietnam during the Vietnam War. So a culture of discipline. Then the closing chapter or principle he develops in the book is technology accelerators. Clearly establishing technology doesn't make you great, but effective and wise leaders and companies and churches know how to make use of it wisely and effectively. All right, so that's what's in this book, and I look forward to our work through it together in our final class. Thanks, guys. Bye.